All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining me today, and thanks for those of you who let me know you could hear me okay. Hi everyone, I'm Morgan at Jotform. Welcome to today's webinar where I'm going to be introducing you to what's new with Jotform Sign. Since we launched Jotform Sign a few months ago, we've been adding new features and functionality, and today I'm here to tell you about our latest additions, over 30 new integrations that continue to help build efficiency into your signature process. For those of you who are new to Sign or newer to Sign, I wanted to start just with a little bit of background about what Sign is and how we got here. First, Sign is a clean, simple way to create documents and collect signatures, enabling you to digitize your signature process. We decided to create a signature tool based on what we saw in user demand. At the time that we started looking into this, about 10% of Jotform forms had the signature field enabled as a field on the form, and 10% turned out to be a ton of forms. So we really saw that user demand, and we decided to develop on that. The signature field is a perfect solution for some folks, but for those who needed a little bit more power, Sign meets e-Sign Act conditions to be a valid and complete signature solution, including capturing signer data and creating an audit trail of any actions that are taken within your document. From the get-go, we have integrated with other Jotform tools in the Jotform suite of products. So you are able to use Sign to replace any signature workarounds you might have created previously with your forms or integrations that you've used to collect signatures. You also see the option to send a signed document in Jotform approvals, see signatures, status, and reports on signed documents in tables. You're able to design and print your documents from our PDF editor, and you can see an overview of any actions that are taken on your form in your inboxes for that, for your signed document in the inboxes for that signed document. So I'm very excited today to talk about what you can now also do, which is integrate with all of the platforms that you see here, in addition to the rest of the tools in our Jotform suite. You can see that full list of integrations here. I am going to be providing an overview of each type of integration, and then I'm going to go out into a demo and show you a couple of different workflows in action, just so you get a sense of how to set these up and what the workflows generally look like. Before I move forward, I do want to point out that I'm going to be talking about these categories very generally. When it comes time to look at individual integrations, you want to make sure to read what that integration actually does. There might be some slight variation between what I'm saying and what the integration actually does. You can learn more about that when you look at the integrations in your signed documents, and I'll point you to that when we get out into the demo. I also have a few additional resources that I'll share at the end of today's session, so stick around for those as well. So our first category of integration types are our cloud storage platform integrations. These allow you to push fully executed signed documents to the cloud storage platform of your choice, so that you can store and manage them there permanently or as backup, and most likely right alongside other documents that you already have in your cloud storage library. So you can send these to particular folders and they'll live right alongside other documents you already have. Next, we have a group of CRM platforms. The integrations in this case allow you to push documents and information from your signature documents to your CRM platforms. So if you, again, similar to what I just talked about with cloud storage, you can use this to store documents and store information right alongside other client information or customer information that you might already have in your CRM. Next, we have email marketing platforms. These are pretty similar to CRMs in that you can push over data from your signed documents. So if you need to add a new customer to your email marketing platform, you can do that without having to manually go enter that information into the email marketing platform. You can push that over seamlessly from Sign. So for example, if you want to send an email to all new clients after they sign one of your documents, you can use these integrations to automatically update your email list. Next, we have project management tools. much like the email marketing, these allow you to take information from your signed documents and push them to your project management tools. So you can use them to start a workflow, increasing your efficiency, again, saving you the time of having to manually input that information as well. So if a signed document should be the first step in kicking off a project or working with a new client, you can use these integrations to do that. Very similar to that category are database management and app integrations. Again, this is pulling data from a signed document and pushing it into your databases where you can collect whatever information you need and populate your databases. These all function a little bit differently, but the cohesive thread there is that you're pushing data from your document to the platform of your choosing. And our last category here is a hodgepodge of task management tools. There's not really any consistent thread with these other than that these are ways that you can use signed documents to kick off another task in whatever you're doing. So if you're a sales team and you want to update your team anytime there's a new sale with your Slack or your Discord channel, you can send data from your signed document directly to that. If you want to send submissions to a specific URL with webhooks, that's an option as well. So again, number of different tasks that you can automate with Sign here. The last thing I want to talk about before I go into the demo is our Zapier-powered integrations. So most of the integrations I've just talked about are native, meaning they're built directly into Jotform, but there are a number that you see here that are powered by Zapier. If you're not familiar with Zapier, it's a conduit between multiple platforms. So in this case, Zapier is the middle piece between connecting your Jotform Sign documents and data to the other different platforms that you see here. I am mentioning this because in these cases, you will need to have a Zapier account as well. So for all of these integrations, you'll need an account with whatever you're integrating with. But in this case, you will also need a Zapier integration as well. When you look at the integrations, you will see a Zapier logo with these as well. So you will know which integrations are Zapier powered. All right, so on that note, I'm going to jump out into our demo and show you a couple of different workflows in action. And then again, we'll come back to resources and some Q&A at the end. So I'm starting our demo here today, signed into my Jotform account already. And I am on my Signed Documents landing page. So what you see here are all of the signed documents that I've already created that I can manage from here, edit whatever I need to do. And I can also create signed documents from here as well. So if I need to create a new document, I just need to click that Create Signed Documents. I have the option to upload something that I might already have on hand or use a template. We have over 600 templates already available for you to use. The examples that I'm going to show you here today are all directly from our templates. I've made like 2 very small tweaks to all of them together. So just to make it a little bit easier for me to demo, but if they look interesting to you, you can go ahead and find them in here. In the template library, you can search by type of templates, by industry. You can filter and sort right here. You can also search by keyword. And if you want to get a better look at something, you can hold over it to scroll through. You can also preview it to get more information. Or if you're ready to use the template, you can use template with this button that will clone a copy of it into your library. So that's how I got the examples I'll be showing you here today. I'm going to go back to my Signed Documents tab here. You can also reach templates up here. So you'll see this top bar anywhere within your Jotform account. And here you can reach templates for all Jotform tools. Signed templates are right here at the bottom. So that will take you directly to the same page that I just showed you for templates. All right, so moving on to the examples, I'm going to be showing 3 examples today. I've chosen these to be fairly representative. So I do have one Zapier-powered integration, one CRM, and one database management tool. And so pretty representative of the types of integrations overall. I've also pulled from any information people shared in the registration about what they wanted to see. So hopefully, if you're looking for something specific, you're going to see it here. You will also notice, small caveat, that I have 2 different versions of a couple of these. That is because I am going to be doing a little bit of camera magic, like when you watch a baking show and they stick something in the oven and then they have something already baked and fully ready to show off. So the complete template is what I'll be showing off to show you what the integration looks like when it's complete. And the new template is what I'm going to use to show you how to set up that integration. So we're going to start with this camper bill of sale template. And in this case, I'm going to integrate with HubSpot. HubSpot, a great use case would be contracts like this one. So let's say you are somebody who sells campers and you want to maintain your list of buyers so that you can keep up to date with them. You know information on them if they ever want to buy from you again, or you can just continue to send them messages, whatever you need to do to maintain their account. So I have this camper bill of sale here. This again is one of our templates. You can see two different colors of fields. In this case, the orange fields are those that the seller will fill out, and the blue fields are those that the buyer will fill out. So it's very clear who's doing what and who needs to fill out what. Pretty straightforward, just seller and buyer, basic information about the camper, and then signatures at the bottom. If you want to add new fields to any of these templates, you can add fields here on the left just by dragging and dropping them over. So we can pull name over like that. And you can reassign them as well, in addition to adding new roles if there's a third party or fourth or fifth party who needs to be a part of this. So that is the build tab. And again, that's where you would go to make any edits to your sign document. When you are ready to send it off, you'll go to the send tab at the top here. And here you can see the signers. By default, since I'm the one setting this up, it's assuming that I'm the seller. But if I need to change that, I can edit this as needed. Otherwise, I just need to enter the buyer's name and email address and send it off. The way it's set up now, this is going to go to both parties at the same time, but if I need to establish a signing order, I can do that as well. So here you can see I can drag and drop and change the order. So now at this point, this will go to me first as the seller. I'll complete it, and then the buyer will receive the completed version that they just need to sign. All right, so I'm going to bounce that middle tab now, and I have to move my Zoom toolbar out of the way to get to that one. All right. And the settings tab is where you'll find general settings for your signed documents, including the integrations that we're talking about today. So you want to go into settings and look for this integrations tab. And here you see that full list of integrations with a little tile for each of them. And you can see you can browse through and just look through all of them. You can browse by category at the top or search for a specific one. And as I mentioned, the Zapier-powered integrations, those are all listed at the bottom of the list, and they all have that Zapier icon in the upper right-hand corner. So that's a good reminder of the ones that need that Zapier integration. All right, so we're going to use HubSpot in this case, as I mentioned. And here's where I mentioned in the slides that you can see more information about what the integration actually does. So when you click on any of these integrations, you'll see something like this. It tells you a little bit about the platform. It tells you a little bit about why you might want to do this integration. And it tells you in bullets in the center here what this integration actually does. So here you can see we can capture new leads, we can add new contacts, we can update contacts, and we can create deals if we'd like as well. The first thing you need to do when you are ready to do this integration is to authenticate your account. In my case, I've already used this integration pretty recently, so that'll happen pretty seamlessly. But if it's your first time or your first time in a while, you will have a few additional steps to get there, but there are very clear instructions that walk you through that process. So here I'm going to click Authenticate. We'll see a screen in HubSpot where I just need to connect the appropriate account, choose account, and that's going to direct me automatically back to Jotform. The next thing I need to do at this point is to map over the fields that I have. So here is where I'm going to tell HubSpot what fields to pull from Sign. On the left-hand side here are my HubSpot fields, and on the right-hand side here are the fields that are available in my Sign document. So let me, again, I'm going to move that toolbar out of the way. I know you can't see that, but it's in my way. So I'm going to show you what my HubSpot contact list looks like. So this is my HubSpot contact list. It's pretty bare, pretty basic, but I'm going to be collecting the name and email address of any of my buyers here. And from here, I can always update HubSpot with additional information if I need to. But what I'm going to ask this integration to do is just to pull in the name and email address. There we go. So what I'm going to pull over here is email address from HubSpot is going to be mapped to my buyer email address in the signed document. I'm going to add the additional field for full name, and that's going to be mapped to my buyer name in the sign document. There's a checkbox here where I can choose to update a contact if it already exists. So if I want to make sure that addresses are up to date, for example, I can do that. I'm not collecting addresses here, but you could presumably do that. You can add as many fields as you need. And there is also a checkbox here to create a deal if you'd like to use this to create a deal in your HubSpot account. I'm not going to check that one. All right, so I'm going to click to complete integration. Takes just a couple of seconds and we'll hit finish. And now you can see my HubSpot tile appears at the top of the list here with the check mark, letting me know that the integration is in place. So now going to my already baked template here. This is the version of the same template that has already been filled out by me, the seller. So you can see at this point, it's in the buyer's hands. The seller information, there are no more orange fields. That's been filled out, but the buyer fields are here. The buyer's already filled out this information. So all we need to do is scroll to the bottom and fill this out on behalf of Bing Buyer. He's already signed and added his name. We just need to add in the date here. February 23rd, click signing complete. There will be a pop-up window just letting your signers exactly know what they're doing here before they officially sign. Click accept and send. That takes just a couple of seconds to go through, but when that goes through, I should be able to go back into HubSpot and see Bing Buyer's information added to that contact list that I just showed you. So we'll give that just another second here. All right, successfully completed. And sometimes takes a couple of seconds, but we should see that name pop up in just a second. There we go. So now we can see Bing Buyer's name updated, added to my contact list. Bing has my email address, as do all of the examples I show in these demos, but we can see the email address here. And once again, I can always add in additional contact information for Bing if I need to. I could have pulled this over, but for the sake of simplicity, not doing that here today in the demo. All right, so that is our first example. Again, a HubSpot example there. So showing you how to push your data from your signed document to your HubSpot account. The next example that I'm going to show is Airtable, so a database management, which again functions pretty similarly to your project management tools as well. So I am going to open that lease agreement new once again to edit that. And this is a pretty straightforward lease example. In this case, let's assume that I am an apartment manager or a landlord or whatever for a large apartment complex, and I'm managing all of my apartment leasing here in my Airtable account. This is my project tracker space, and this is my task list, and all of the tasks are listed here. So what I want to do in this case is collect the apartment number as the name. I'm also going to collect the start date as the date that I, as the landlord, am signing this document. The deadline I can add later on or pull it in if I want. I'm also collecting the lessee or renter's name here. So let's look at how to set this one up. So again, going to jump into settings and look for integrations. And here we will look for Airtable. Click that. And Airtable, along with a couple of the other examples or a couple of the other integrations, does need an API key. In those cases, it'll tell you it needs an API key. That's usually in your settings and pretty easy to find. But I found that all of these platforms have pretty clear documentation about getting that information if you have any questions. Once I've added in that API key, it's going to prompt me to choose that base. So that's my project tracker that I'm working with. And then it's going to prompt me to choose my table, which in this case is my tasks table. So this is just telling Airtable where the data is going to go. And next we need to match over the fields so Airtable also knows what fields to get from this. So once again, I'm going to pull from Airtable on the left. We have name here. Again, name is going to be my apartment number. So I'll scroll down a bit to find that. I know it's in here somewhere. There we go. All the way at the bottom. I'm also going to add in the status as the my sign date, or no, sorry, I think I clicked the wrong one there. Few fields. The start date, there we go, as the date that I fill out here. So me date, that's letting me know that that is coming from me as the person filling out the form initially. And the last field I'm going to add is the lessee, and that is going to be the renter's name or the lessee's name, tenant lessee name. Again, you can add additional fields as needed, but in this case, that's what I'm collecting. I'll hit save. And again, complete integration and finish to fully save that. And again, you can see that check mark indicating that this integration has gone through. All right, so now I'm going to jump to my lease agreement that's already been filled out by me, the landlord. You can see again, all of that information already in here. All that needs to happen here is for Russell Renter to sign this and date it. So we're going to do that same thing again. This is in Russell's hands at this point, sign and complete, accept and send. And again, once again, we should be able to go back into Airtable in just a couple of seconds here and see this apartment information added to that task board that I just showed you. All right. And there we go. You might have even seen that pop up in real time. So we have apartment 110 here. The sign date is included and Russell's information is included. And again, I can add in whatever additional information I need from here. All right, our last example here is, again, I mentioned this is one of the Zapier-powered integrations. Here, I'm going to be showing you a Sendinblue integration, so an email marketing platform. And here we have a modeling contract to do that. I'm not going to show both pieces in this case, primarily because the Zapier integrations take a little bit more work to set up, and I want to focus on that. But also, as far as seeing the results in Sendinblue, sometimes the Zapier integrations take a couple of extra minutes to process. So I didn't want to try to show you something that wasn't showing up. But this is what my Sendinblue contact list looks like. And again, I'm just collecting the contact and email address from my signed documents. So we'll open our model contract. And again, we're going to hop into settings and integrations, and I will look for Sendinblue. There we go. If you have connected to a Zapier account recently, again, you won't need to do that again. You can see my account is already connected here. I can disconnect it if I need to. If you are not already connected to Zapier, you will see a button here prompting you to do that first. But since I'm already signed in, I can go ahead and click this blue Use This Zap button. And you'll see that the format here is a little bit different from what we've looked at in the last couple of examples. Again, it's just because of the way that this is set up through Zapier that this looks a little bit different. In Zapier, you need to set up two different pieces of your integrations. So first, you're going to set up a trigger, which is the thing that prompts the action, and then the action, which is the final thing that happens. So in this case, the trigger is somebody signing my signed document, and the action will be adding their contact information to that Sendinblue contact list that I showed you. So here I'm first going to open the trigger, and this piece should already be filled out, but you can open that to just confirm. This is basically choosing Jotform as the first piece of the integration and showing you that the event here is that we're a new signed document is being completed. We can also change that to a new submission to a specific form or document, but in this case, I'm going to go with this. I'll hit continue. Next, I need to verify the account that I'm using. So that's just my Jotform account. And again, hit continue. And then the last thing I need to do here is choose which document I'm pulling data from. So again, we're looking for that modeling contract template. There is a note here about extra fields. I've tried doing this with removing these and without. It doesn't seem to make a difference, but there you go. I removed it just to keep it a little bit cleaner, but you can see modeling contract template is applied. We're going to hit continue. The last thing here is that it's going to give you a test trigger so you can make sure that this is pulling in the right information from your Jotform account, from the document you need, and it's showing you the applicable fields that you can pull over. So again, this looks pretty good. I see the model name and email address. That's what I want to be collecting here. Everything looks good, so I'm going to hit continue, and then I can move on to setting up the action, which again, in this case is the Sendinblue piece. So again, just confirming that we're connecting to Sendinblue. What we are doing here is adding or updating a contact, but you can also use this integration to send an email based on the signed data. I will hit continue. Again, got to connect to my account here and hit continue. And the last piece of this, again, is to map over the fields that you want to pull over. Email is required since this is an email platform, so everything runs on email. This has an email address pulled in by default, but it's not the one that I want to use. So I'm just going to delete that and open this here just by clicking in it. click show all options and scroll to the bottom for my model email. So answer is model email. We got that there. Next, I'm going to send it to the appropriate list. In Sendinblue, I currently only have one list, so I'm sending it to my first folder, first list. And I'm going to choose the update type, so I can either add or reassign contacts. In this case, I'm just adding things. I'll click add. That's been added here as well. And if I want to map over any additional fields, I can do here the same as in the other examples that we looked at. So in this case, I want to add in the model name as contact in Sendinblue. And I am going to, again, look for show all options and find that model name. We got model as the model name here. Again, I'll hit continue and run a test action. And this should show me that everything's working okay. And here you can see John Doe at example has been added to my list. The last thing I need to do is click publish Zap, publish and turn on. And that will connect, use Zapier to connect these two. Ready to go. I can close this out. I can confirm that this Zap is on with this green button here at the top. But if you need to turn it off at any point, so if you want people to fill this out without sending that data over to Sendinblue, you can toggle that off. You can also edit this with this blue button here. It does say edit if you can see the whole button, but you can only see that first part, but you can edit it with this button. And there are a couple of additional actions that you can take here as well. But other than that, I'm ready to go. My Zap has been set up. You will notice that when you go back to the panel, you don't see a check mark for these Zapier integrations, but the integration should still work just fine with that. So that is the end of the demo. I'm going to go back to slides and pull up some of those resources that I promised, and then we have a couple of minutes for Q&A. So if you're interested in learning more about Jotform Sign in general, we did do a webinar about that when we released Sign last year. That's this introducing Jotform Sign video. If you'd like to learn more about these new integrations, my colleague Chris wrote a fantastic blog that outlines them. If you're somebody who wants a little more information or somebody who learns better by reading, I definitely recommend checking that out. And we have a Jotform Sign playlist on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/thejotform. You can check that out again for more videos about Jotform Sign, including a number of very short videos that my colleague Kimberly has created showing you each integration step by step. So if there's an integration you're interested in that I didn't cover today, I definitely recommend that one as well. When we post this webinar on YouTube, we will link to these as well. So if you're watching the replay of this at any point, you will be able to find these in the resources. You can also reach out to me at any time and I'd be happy to send those along to you. I am morgan@jotform.com. That also goes for any questions that we're not able to get to today, but at this point, I do want to open up some questions. I have seen a bunch come through. I've tried to kind of skim them as I go. And I know there were a few that we got during registration that I wanted to make sure that I covered as well. So I do see there are a lot of people asking if there will be a replay of this. So yes, as I mentioned, you can find that on our YouTube channel. It should be up by tomorrow, youtube.com/thejotform. If you reach out to me directly, I will be happy to send that to you directly as well. And we should send a follow-up email in about a week with a link to the webinar as well. I know, yeah. So there are a number of questions about different integrations and what can you do with what. So let me see if I can find specific ones here. I know there was a question about integrating with Zoho and if you can push documents directly to Zoho. I saw that somewhere. So yes, there is an integration with Zoho. And with that, I believe you can send fully signed executed documents to Zoho. Another person I see is asking about Excel. Yes, there's an Excel integration as well. So you can also use an integration to push documents and data to Excel. So that, yep, that should work as well. And I know somebody in registration had asked about building a listserv with these integrations. So absolutely, that would be similar to what I just showed with the Sendinblue integration, that you can populate your lists with any information you're getting from signed documents. I see a number of questions about your Sign license and if that's different from a standard Jotform license. So Sign is a different product, but it is included within your Jotform license at whatever account level you have within Jotform. So it is available to everyone. You'll need to find it under the separate heading. It's in My Signed Documents, but it is part of your package. Your limits will depend on whatever your limits are for the account that you have. So hopefully that answers that question. But again, if you have any additional questions about that, you can check in with me. And a related question is there an additional expense for these? No, it's included within your license. Can you automate my forms, or automation just available in Jotform Sign? Yes, you can absolutely automate your forms. There are actually more integrations already available in forms. You'll find it in the same place. So you want to go into your settings tab and look for integrations, just as in the examples I showed you here in your form. And you can search through the whole list there. You can browse it in the same way I showed you as well. I see a question asking if we consider integrating with a project management, additional project management tools. And I know that was a question that came up during registration, as well as, how can we request additional integrations? So if you don't already see the integration that you would like to use, let me go back to my example here. Pesky toolbar is in the way again. You might have noticed this already, but anywhere within the integrations page here, the integrations tab, the last thing you'll see on that page, whatever view you're looking at, is this button here where you can request an integration. So you can send that directly to our dev team if you are interested in additional integrations and would like to make a recommendation about that. Yeah, a lot of questions about integrations with additional platforms. So yep, that goes for everybody. If there is an integration that you don't already see, feel free to go ahead and request those integrations here. Question about, is there a way to have more than one person sign your documents? Absolutely. This question comes up a lot with Sign. You can have as many people sign a document as you need. I know there was another question I saw that asked if it could go back to you as the owner of the form. So in that case, you would just include yourself as a signer. But when you go to, let me again move that toolbar out of the way. When you're in Build, you'll see all of your signers here. Each person gets assigned a different color. But if you need to add additional signers, you can always do that by clicking on any of the fields and looking for this, which shows you who the signer is. So here in this modeling contract, the model is the signer, but you can always add a new role. You can change the color of that. So again, it remains clear who does what. And here you can see the orange fields are assigned to me as well. So I can change that, but you can have as many signers as you need in any document. And if you want to send this out to somebody and fill in some pieces yourself first, that is basically what you would do, is assign those fields to yourself first. Gosh, there are a lot of questions. I think I've gotten through a lot of them. So I think this will be the last one, unless there are any last minute questions that come in. How are the signatures created in a way that looks accurate and binding? I do want to point out that in the signature field, the examples I showed you so far were just, they were typed typed in a cursive font. You can change that as well to be a actual hand-drawn sign field. Let me see if I can open this really quick. Yeah, I can't. It's going to take me too long to pull up a different example at this point, but you can change that. So when the signer fills this out, they will have the option to use that typed signature or to hand draw their signature in the box as well. So it looks more like an official signature at that point. All right, so I think I'm going to close it out at that point. I know I didn't get to everybody, but I tried to grab generalize the questions that I did see. I do again see that there are a lot of different integration requests here. So go ahead and use the integrations panel here to send those over. You can also get in touch with me and I'd be happy to pass it along to our team as well. So once again, I'm going to drop my email address, Morgan, MORGAN @Jotform. If you want to make any of those requests, or you have questions that I wasn't able to get to today, or you want to tell me an example of how you're already using Sign, I would love to hear from you. Feel free to email me. If I can't help you out, I will get you in touch with somebody who can as soon as possible. And on that note, I'm just going to thank everybody for being here. Again, feel free to get in touch, and hopefully we'll see you at the next webinar. Bye.